Northern Zambia is cattle farming country, but like in other places on the continent, cattle farming and overgrazing can lead to land degradation. However, there is an alternative approach, which can lead to better income for farmers and reverse environmental damage.
Holistic land and livestock management is a concept that was developed by Alan Savory. He's a Zimbabwean, and it's a concept that brings in animals to mimic nature.
Alan Savory has been part of the Zimbabwean landscape for many years. He's a world-renowned ecologist, farmer and environmentalist, and president of the Savory Foundation. He encountered the issues of land degradation early on in his career.
When I first went to Northern Rhodesia, which is now Zambia, of course, where I was in the game department as a biologist, I began to see terrible land destruction, even in future national parks, to the extent now that we're facing global desertification and climate change, seriously now threatening our survival.
This idea of holistic livestock management gained prominence after Alan Savory delivered a talk on desertification at an annual TED conference. It has since been watched almost 4 million times.
This picture is a typical seasonal grassland. It has just come through 4 months of rain, and it's now going into 8 months of dry season. Now, all of that grass you see above ground has to decay biologically before the next growing season. We have traditionally used fire, but fire leaves the soil bare, releasing carbon. And we are burning in Africa every single year more than 1 billion hectares. We justify the burning as scientists because it does remove the dead material and it allows the plants to grow. We cannot burn it without causing desertification and climate change. What are we going to do? There is only one option, and that is to do the unthinkable and to use livestock, bunched and moving, as a proxy for former herds and predators and mimic nature. There is no other alternative left to mankind.
And it is a fairly simple system. A herd of cattle, in this case 500, grazes together. The areas in which they graze is carefully planned to make sure they finish the grazing in one area before they move to the next. Because they graze as a herd, their hooves loosen the ground, helping new grasses to grow when the rains come in spring. At night, the cattle sleep in a temporary paddock. The paddock is designed to give each cow 3 square meters. The impact of the hooves, together with the manure and urine, creates a fertile piece of land that can be used to plant maize or vegetables during summer. This will cut back on production costs because the community farmers will not need to buy any fertilizer. The paddock stays in one place for 7 days and then it is moved. This system has significantly improved the quality of grazing and helped restore the land in areas where it was implemented. The Foundation wants to see this rolled out in other parts of Africa as well. To spread his philosophy of holistic management and to give it practical application, Alan Savory started the Africa Centre for Holistic Management on a piece of land he owned close to the Victoria Falls. Today, students from all over Africa and the world come to learn about his principles. This group is from Botswana.
So we have some sort of water point. I grew up in a rural community, lots of poverty. and land degrading, and our crops were hit by drought, whether we had good rain or not. And so, as like almost a natural instinct, I grew knowing there's something wrong and there must be something we can do. And there are many other efforts that are being done everywhere, but only holistic grazing does it at a massive scale.
We have trained a couple of organizations from Cape to Cairo. And most of the organizations which we have trained, they are implementing, and they are implementing successfully. And there have been a lot of results on the ground.
With the assistance of the non-profit organization Ndlovu, Zambia, this community outside the southern Zambian town of Choma is one area where the holistic land management system has been implemented successfully.
What you are seeing here is a field for one of the farmers who is actually participating under the Holistic Land and Livestock Management project. The arrangement is that she has an opportunity to actually have the crow to be at her homestead or at her farm, okay, where she can use it to actually do land impaction in her crop field. Previously, I used to do farming, growing of crops on the same piece of land, but then I never used to have such kind of a harvest that I'm like to get this year. The idea behind is that she does not have to bother about buying fertilizers, but then she can easily impact her crop field using the same livestock, and she's assured of a very good harvest. Okay. Fertilizer. This field where we are here was not impacted by animals, unlike where we're coming from, where we got this cob. This one was not impacted at all. So this tells you that actually this is the direction to go in terms of if we want to address issues of food security, as well as we want to have more income from the crops that we grow on the farms.
Her story is not unique. The whole community is benefiting.
Where there was no grass, there's now grass. Where our crops were failing to grow, we've got abundant harvest.
In the short time that we have introduced this system, we have found that instead of making it a desert, we are trying to revive it again.
Yeah, we used to have stray animals that were just grazing in a very unplanned manner. But then after we started the planned grazing, we've even seen a reduction in the number of conflicts within the community, because there are no animals that are now eating in other people's gardens or in other people's crop fields.
There's animal dung and urine. This is what is going to change our land. We intend to use it because the animals have been here for 7 days. We're not going to use any fertilizer for this field. When we move the crow has to be in that particular place for 7 days. After 7 days, then we take it to another given place.
This time around, many people are even seeing the results already, and the whole chiefdom is actually willing to move forward with this approach. We would want to invite the other local leaders within Zambia to come and join us in this revolution, because we have really seen the benefits. They can check with us in our crop fields. We have good harvest because of the animal impacted fields. Even our grazing areas, they are slowly building up, they are slowly being improved. So in short, we are inviting them to come and see, and probably going to replicate that in their own areas.
Back in the north of Zambia, local farmers discussed this concept of holistic land and livestock management and how they might implement it on their grazing lands.
And we are saying that the livestock which we have, they are a very big tool.
The farmers conclude that this is a profitable and sustainable way forward for land rehabilitation.
In 10 years, I would like to see farmers having the knowledge of how to implement holistic landscape management in their own communities, so that they benefit as well from the livelihood aspect, from the economic aspect, and also from the social aspect in terms of sustaining the environment and also restoring the land.